Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to continue looking at reflections. Right now we're going to look at reflections on the coordinate plane. So our first video, we looked at just what is a reflection, right? Um, so here, our objective right now is to be able to reflect figures on a coordinate graph and explain the relationship between the coordinates. Right now, we're just going to be focusing on the x and y axis. Um, there will come a time when we're going to practice with other lines. Um, that'll have to come later as we're working through this. But for today, for this video, we're just looking with the x and y axis. So we look at reflections, right? We saw this image of this little girl playing with the mirror, right? So a reflection takes a line of symmetry and creates a mirror copy on the other side of that line of symmetry. So you can have an image that has internal line of symmetry, which just means that it's the same on one side as the other. It creates that mirror like a full image. So a circle, right, has a line of symmetry down the middle of it. Well, and so you could fold it and those points would line up. Or you can have an external line of symmetry, and that creates that mirror copy. And remember, the shapes are congruent, that they have the same length and internal angles. They're just going to be reversed, right? So with our example here of the little girl, if she closes her right eye, the left eye in her mirror image is closed. Again, we've got our line of symmetry here. This is a horizontal line, so we've got the mountains and the forest reflected in the lake. But we're going to look at coordinate graphs today. So in the technical definition here of a reflection is a reflection flips a figure across the line to create a mirror image. Here's an example using coordinate plane, right? So our original image is triangle ABC, and that happens to be in quadrants 1 and 2, and we're flipping it over the x-axis, which will move it down to quadrants 3 and 4. Okay. One thing I want to talk to you about is, like, if we use, and we'll see this in our rules here in a second, if we're flipping across the horizontal axis, if we're flipping across the x-axis, our x value is going to be the same. So if we look, right, we've got, let me get my little laser pointer. We've got C, which is at 4, 2. So we move over 4 on the x-axis and up 2. To flip it, we still move over 4, but this time we're going down 2. So when we flip over the horizontal axis, the horizontal value, that the x coordinate, does not change. The y coordinate, we're just going to negate, right? So if it's 2, it becomes negative 2. If it's negative 5, it becomes positive 5. Okay? So if we reflect it across the y-axis, the y value is going to be the same. So if we look here, right, we've got a and a prime. A is at negative 2, up 5. A prime is at positive 2, so the x value here changes, but it's still up at 5. Okay? So we're going to count the distance from each point to the y-axis. Okay? So, right, now if we look at negative 2 over 5, and we're flipping it, we're going to move over to positive 2, positive 5. Negative 4, positive 1 is going to be positive 4, positive 1. Okay? When you reflect a point across the y-axis, the y value remains the same, but the x value is transformed to its opposite. So again, we flip it. So if it's positive, if the original is positive, it becomes negative. If the original was negative, it becomes positive. So the reflection of the point xy across the y-axis is the point opposite x, y. This would be a great thing to write down if you're taking notes. This little bullet point right here. Feel free to pause it, put this in your notes. Reflection across the y-axis of xy is going to be opposite of x, y. Now again, reflection across the x-axis is going to be reversed. The x value is going to stay the same. The y value is going to be negated or flipped. So if it's negative, it becomes positive. If it was positive, it becomes negative. So if we've got the point 2, negative 5, which is point A, and we flip it over the x-axis, we now have 2, positive 5. Okay? And again, flipping it over the x-axis, the x stays the same, the y becomes negative, or if it was negative, it becomes positive. We're going practice here. Reflect across the y-axis. Pause the video, try to figure it out, and then we'll get the answers, okay? We're going to reflect across the y-axis. That means that the y values stay the same, the x values change. So C is at -2 up 2, so that the C prime is going to be at 2, 2. B is at -5, 2, so it's going to be a +5, 2 for B prime. And A is at -3, 5, so it's going to be a +3, 5. Okay, so we've got A prime, B prime, C prime. And of course, ideally, these lines are straight. Another practice. We're going to reflect it across the x-axis. Pause the video, try to figure it out, and then you can start the video and we'll go through the answer. So, okay, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and do this. So D is over at +2, 2, so it's going to be at +2, -2. A is going, oh, that's D prime. A is over at +2, 4, so at +2, -4, we're going to have A prime. B is at +5, 4, so we're going to come over to +5 and go down to -4. And C is over at +5, 1, so it's going to be at +5, -1. Okay, and that's how you're going to reflect across the x-axis. There's some extra practice posted. You guys can feel free to take a look at that. I've also posted the key so you can double check your answers. If you have any questions about any of the specific stuff, feel free to ask me. There's a Google form on the contact page, and you can type your name, your email, and then what your question is, and I'll try to get back to you, okay?